Security forces have recovered, from Manipur, a large cache of weapons during search operations. What you will now see on your screens very shortly is an image of the haul. The haul includes everything from rifles, grenades, rocket launchers, improvised mortar bombs, 9mm pistol and ammunition. The recovery operations were the Thoubal, Churachandpur district and the Khongnangpokpi Hill Range. Strict measures have also been implemented at the vulnerable locations, and a security convoy was also provided along with sensitive stretches to guarantee the free and safe movement of essential items. Additionally, a total of 111 checkpoints were set up across different districts in both hill and valley areas. Despite these stringent measures, no detentions have been reported in connection with the violations. Major General J.G. Dwivedi, defence expert, is joining us live. We also have B.L. Vora, former DGP and Home Secretary of Manipur, live with us. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, defence expert, joins us live. Suhas Chakma, Director RRAG, is also live with us on the broadcast. Major General Dwivedi, let me begin with you first. This is a further concerning development from Manipur, given the large haul by the security forces through their combing operations.
I think one of the major challenge today for the security forces is how to disarm the very heavily militant groups and of course the communities. And what they recovered, I think just it is the tip of the iceberg. If we go by the statistics which are given by the state administration, about 6,000 weapons were looted from the police armories. And out of that, as per the current figures, only 1,200 have been recovered. And total recovery arm is something about 2,681. Of course, along with certain equipment and explosives. Now, point at issue is that both the communities are armed. And who are armed? Armed are the militant groups of the two communities. As far as Methi is concerned, the UNLF, PLA, KYKL, Pre-Pak, and these are the groups which are very active. When I was commanding the division there about 2 decades back, and on the Kuki side, it is the KLA which is armed. So now these groups are acting as militia forces and protecting their respective communities. So therefore, the arms surrendering is not going to happen. This has to be coordinated operation, part of which have been taken. But as I said, this minuscule. Now, where are the weapons coming from? That is a major question. The weapon sources are multi-sources. Firstly, there is a gun trade which runs from China through Myanmar on to Thailand. Weapons are available. Then there are rebel groups which are fighting the Junta government in Myanmar. They are readily available and they have good source, and also they have tie-up with the Kuki groups. Therefore, arm flow is not a problem. And the third important point is within the groups, NSCN IM is well armed, NSCN K is well armed, and these groups are well interconnected. Here I like to make just 3-4 important points. First and foremost, the problem with any security operation is today a kind of very distorted chain of command, and that is the unified headquarters is under the advisor, Mr. Kuldeep Singh, who directly reported to MHA. Therefore, the state government is out of the loop and also the state police. The second issue is that there is lack of coordination between the security forces because unified headquarters is not working effectively. And that's why the results are not coming forth. And the third point is, as I said, the very porous borders, you may recover some arms, but the inflow will continue until the borders have been checked at least effectively and some selected areas are kind of dominated. So all I can say is recovery of arms is a good sign, but what has happened is too little, too late. Secondly, it requires a very coordinated operation by the security forces. That means rejigging of the unified headquarters and complete command and control. And thirdly, I think this remote control by the central government of the state government is not going to work. I think central government has to step in. The government of the state needs to change, and we need to have new structures come in place. After all, it's a political solution and not the military solution that is going to deliver in Manipur.
All right. Let me also, in fact, quickly rope in B.L. Vora now. B.L. Vora, This is, of course, a very, very concerning development. It also comes on the back of recently the fact that, improvised drones were also found, very complicated foreign drones were found, and now, of course, this huge cache which includes so many devices that, of course, I read out earlier, and the kind of arms found as well. Does this all have reason then to believe that there is someone smuggling all of this across the border? Do you believe that there are foreign elements perhaps involved here as well, or is it too premature to say that?
No, definitely, Uday. You hit the nail on the head. But there are some other issues also involved in this. In addition to the very valuable points made by General Dwivedi, see, I would try to focus on some other points. I think the main thing is that the President's rule must be there with immediate effect. This unified command structure and all, these are all creating confusions. And I think President rule must be imposed. This will also meet the demand, long-standing demand of the people that the political leadership should be changed. So I think change is not required. Change is required in the form of the President's rule. This must be imposed immediately. Second is the drug lords. I think the action against them must continue all the time. They are the one who are funding the entire project in a very big way. Of course, additionally, China, Bangladesh, Pakistan are also doing. But I think they have to be tackled. They have tasted blood. As you know, the root cause of the entire problem of Manipur was the drugs. Because these people, some had come from Manipur, they came over here because there was some pressure there and cookies joined hands with them. And once the state government started taking action, they were looking for a trigger, and that High Court judgment misrepresented by these people gave them a trigger last year in May. I mean, these are well known. So my point is that action against drug lords and of course on the border must continue, and the full might of the Indian state should be on display, whether it is political, whether it is diplomatic, whether it is economic, or even peace efforts for that matter. I think we have totally failed. If you ask me, I am very anguished that we have let it go. I think we have kind of written off the way we are dealing with Manipur. All these points which me and my colleagues here on the panel are making, I think we all have been making it now for the last 1 year, and similarly at other channels, other forums, I am sure a lot of people are saying. But I think mainland seems to be far more important to the government. Now, one is about, and another last issue which I wanted to talk to you was about this the drone thing. I think drones should also be used by security forces. And why not? I think it's very, very important that as I use the word, the full might of the Indian state, I think must be used. This is definitely good, but definitely tip of the iceberg. Is much more to be done in a sustained manner on a much bigger scale, and there should be no let up at all if we want to save Manipur from further chaos. Uday.
Major Mohammad Ali Shah, how concerning is this development for you?
Right, Uday. Firstly, I think Dr. B.L. Bora knows Manipur very well. He's been the Director General of Police over there in Manipur and Tripura. I say doctor because I would like to congratulate him. He's just been awarded an honorary doctorate from Jakarta University. And now, see, the very fact is in Manipur, it's a long drawn problem, and if we are thinking we are going to solve it now, I think it's rather become very late, unfortunately, and very sadly, it pains me to say this, to speak the truth. Last year, 3rd of May, and now we are in September next year. We'll soon be celebrating New Year, and we'll be entering 2025 very soon. And unfortunately, I hope the situation in Manipur calms down. I hope it's brought under control. But unfortunately, no, it hasn't happened, and it pains me no end, because when I see two communities who live together like brothers, cookies and Michael have never had a history of clash earlier ever. There have been clashes between the Nagas and the cookies. the Maite fighting between the Pangals and the Maite Hindus, the Manipuri Hindus. There have been a clash between the cookies, the Thadao speaking cookie and the inside fight, I would say. But it's never been between Maite and cookies. They were so loving and affectionate towards each other, but today they have become bitter enemies. They do not look at each other eye to eye. I'm not talking about Manipur only. I'm talking about the cookies and Maite outside Manipur. For example, in Delhi. It's very sad. And firstly, I would like to compliment our forces, both the army and the Manipur police, for doing a very, very successful operation. And they got a cash on 21st September. They got a very, very fine cash, I would say. So as General Govind Dwivedi had earlier said, first is to disarm. And I think we are heading towards that. We got to disarm both. Because the search operations were conducted in the valley and in the hills, which means in the hills they are cookies and in the valley they are Maites. Like Thoubal district is actually largely Maite dominated. There's Kakchin that covers under that, and there are other belts. In Churachandpur, it's primarily cookie dominated. That's the hillside, which is closer towards Mizoram, and from there, that's how cookie goes to Manipur nowadays. They have to catch a flight to Aizawl, and then from there they come by road. But now, what could be the solution to this, Uday? It's been so long. We got to disarm. We are heading towards disarmament, yes. And but there was a peace committee which was formed last year of 51 members. They were about, if I remember correctly, I might go a bit wrong in the figures, but there were 25 Maites, there were 10 cookies, there were 11 cookies or 10 Nagas, something like that. We didn't really work out well. And those people who were there in the peace committee itself rejected it. They didn't want to be there because their consent wasn't taken. Now, Uday, the IB, the Information Broadcast, the Intelligence Bureau, they would be having a list of people who may not be either cookies or Maites. For example, senior officers like Dr. B.L. Vora, General Dwivedi. There are so many, the former Director General of SAM Rifle, who just retired, General Pradeep Nair, there is General Shokin Chauhan, there is General Sangwan, they are former GOC 3 Corps, they are former governors over there, they are former ceasefire monitoring groups over there. So there are people who, they have been former chief secretaries who understand Manipur well. Their advice, their consultancy should be taken by the government. They understand Manipur rather than someone who doesn't understand Manipur at all. We should get people like that. We should get people who are passionate about the soil. Now, the very fact is, imagine the cache of ammunition that was recovered was indeed very, very shocking. There was one rocket approximately 5.5 feet in length. There was one one rocket. Then there was 3 feet on the rocket. Then there was one of large size country-made mortar. Then there were 2 numbers of medium-size country-made mortars. Then there were 4 numbers of mortar bomb, country-made again. So some of them are country-made, some of them are got from smuggling from abroad. That's a different thing. It could have been. Now what's happening? See, they have all the underground factions over there in the northeast part of India. Yeah, they have been getting their weapons not from manufactured like from inside. They, of course, foreign hand was then not there. It was always there. It was always there. But now, when we are seeing the wounds getting too deep, obviously, it's not obvious, the foreign powers, our adversaries, will take advantage of our weakness. They will say, what's happening in India? Okay, let's dig in there. Let's go in there. So they are bound to take advantage. So, and it's become so complex and so complicating that now if I tell I have friends who are Maites, by the way, they are very, very good people. I have friends who are cookies, who are again very, very good people. I ask them,
yes,
why are you fighting? Well, they'll be surprised to know they themselves don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of work, of course, is needed to be done. The others who are live with us, Suhas Chakma is live with us as well. Suhas Chakma, come in here on your view on this latest seizure, what it reflects according to you. Do you believe a foreign hand is suspected, and if so, how do we guard against that? Moving
Firstly, I think I could not have agreed more with what General Dwivedi and Dr. Vora had mentioned. I think we have already lost the game. We have to remember that in Manipur, the major armed groups had never come into talks with the government of India, even after the arrest of Sanayama in 2012. Sanayama is the president of the UNF. So you could understand the ideological commitment not to engage in talks with the government of India. We have been in suspension of operations with the Kuki militants from 2008. We have already spent, so many years just engaging or not intensifying the conflict. Then in between we had loss of 5,000 ammunition, arms, 500,000 ammunitions. Just next door, you have the entire junta, which has collapsed for the first time in the last 78 years since independence. We have to understand that when a government like Myanmar's junta falls apart, you can imagine the power of the insurgent groups. And obviously, there is an involvement of massive international actors who have decided to overthrow the government of Myanmar, and they have been successful to a large extent. And as we discussed today, we also know that our Prime Minister had been to Washington, and as he was meeting the President of United States in the Quad meeting, you also had the Sikh groups being actually given the space in the State Department. So you have a completely chaotic situation in Bangladesh. Nobody knows whether this government will survive for 6 months, and you might see that if this interim government doesn't survive, they themselves are fleeing, and there could be civil war in Bangladesh. So in the midst of this, if we still do not decide, as this stated by General Dwivedi and Dr. Bora, who have served there from the other side, that's from the security perspective, then I think we have already made blunders, and there is no way you can get back to the normal situation by recovering few arms and ammunitions when everybody is armed to the teeth. Please remember, the other side of the story is that there are younger boys and girls or youth of this in these places. They get inspired by the collapse of the Myanmar's government. So we are taking, I think, things very casually. We had not expected that the Sheikh Hasina would fall apart like that. Nobody had expected on 5th of August that she would collapse. I think only few of us, we are saying that if she could survive this weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, then she could survive. Otherwise, she cannot. And at the end of the day, they could not kill millions of people who are on the streets. So I think in Manipur, we have lost. I think if we intervene now, then maybe we can bring semblance of, control. I think what we are fighting is for semblance of control. We are not going to be able to, fence the border double quick. Even fencing doesn't help. But we need massive presence. We need to end the conflict by engaging some kind of a process, and that would require an interlocutor which is acceptable to both sides. And I think the good part of it, still, I think the government of India is accepted or looked after by the both sides to be the interlocutor. And there is hesitancy from the central government. And if this hesitancy continues for a long time, just imagine, the complete collapse of the Bangladesh government. It can collapse. Please take my word that anybody who knows Bangladesh, who is following Bangladesh, and if you know the lawlessness in that country, these people who are not elected could collapse any given point of time. It is, at this point of time, Bangladesh is what? Bangladesh is Iraq and Myanmar, mixture of that. Cocktail of these two countries. So that's why we have an emerging situation, and sometimes I wonder why these things cannot be read by the political leadership of the country.
Okay, let me take that across back to Major General Dwivedi. Major General Dwivedi, the fact, of course, is that these are concerning developments. Of course, foreign hand has already been spoken about by our previous panelists. But now, while we, of course, can do a lot in the long term, because this is a problem that is not going to end overnight, short term, what should be the priorities of the central government?
Well, Uday, first and foremost, I think short-term perspective is a national problem. No more Kuki and Maiti conflict. It is a national issue. And as Mr. Vora rightly brought out, that whole power of the nation needs to be brought in, because it cannot be solved by any one agency, neither military nor political. It has to be whole national effort. And the syndrome of fate accompanying or wishing the problem away is not going to solve the issue. We have to now grab the issue head on, and that's the only way. And the central government has to take control, because state government cannot solve the problem. It has been stated both by the DGP as also by the state government themselves. Secondly, I think Mr. Chakma has brought out a very important issue, and that is the Bangladesh factor. Having fought Bangladesh war, know the country well. Actually, it is not only Iraq and Myanmar and Bangladesh combined, it is also the erstwhile Pakistan. It can go the way East Pakistan goes, and that is a real challenge because the radical elements there can take control, and this will be a very serious issue for us. And the third point and very important point is we cannot let this situation be just simmering. The situation has to be understood, and it's a very, I would say, sensitive situation because it can spread to northeast. Mizos have deep connect with the Kukis. Nagas there are looking forward to a Naga link. So it can balkanize the Manipur state into Meitei, into Kuki and to Nagas, and that will be, I think, a very catastrophic situation. So all I can say is national problem requires national handling. All forces must come into play. No more we can let the problem be on the back burner. It has to be brought onto the forefront, and we got to be fully alive as to what is going on in our neighborhood, be it China, be it Bangladesh, be it Myanmar. I think earlier the better. It's time to act now. No more forming committees and such like issues. Bring in the civil society, get the unified control, and let center act now. Uday.
Yes, BL Vora, your action plan for the government short term, what according to you they should be concentrating on?
Short term, three things, Uday, I'll say. President rules straight away forthwith. No let up on that at all. Immediately. And people from outside, competent people, they should go well known from all fields, and they will definitely deliver. That's one. Two, it should be treated, of course, a national problem. The diplomatic effort, the political, all efforts, but main thing will be second, peace effort. And third would be, I'll say, as far as recovery of weapons is concerned, there are, in such cases, surrender and rehabilitation policies. In a big way, there should be psychological war against these people, whether by all kinds of announcements. Today you have social media. Earlier we were using, helicopters and all by dropping leaflets and all. And I think a policy should be drawn up, should be clear, loud and clear, should be followed, and everyone should be asked to appeal, cooperate, and those who don't should be taken to task. If you are asking me short-term measures, these are the immediate measures. People should know that the government of India is here now with full might, and things will get sorted out. That is the only way, if you ask me.
Closing comments from you, Major Mohammad Ali Shah.
Right, Uday, they are saying, Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. Do everything possible, but just get peace. Do everything possible. Take action, form peace committees, do what you do, talks, do what you want. Do how you do it. Like in the army, when I'm training, it's our senior would tell us, how you do it. Just do it. Similarly, bottom line, end result, peace should be brought into Manipur. They should, in fact, one should have all the wherewithal, and I think the army has it. Unfortunately, the hands are tied behind the back. The army should be given free power, full authority to go ahead and bring peace. And like the way they got some powers, they and Manipur police together professionally, they conducted a very successful operation. They recovered. So many weapons had gone missing initially there. So many weapons had gone missing initially. So at least we are disarming both societies, and that's, I think, a good sign. So we are heading towards that.
Last word to you before we, of course, take a quick break, Mr. Chakma.
I think the day elections in Haryana are held. Next day, the president should be declared. I do not expect the government to act before the elections in Haryana. And I think once the center goes and people believe,
well, Haryana and also the union territory that is not too far away from Manipur, of course, Jammu and Kashmir, which also is sensitive.
Yes. So the day I think the president's rule is imposed, I think people will get the confidence that there is some change And I think lots of people who are armed, because not only the insurgent groups, lots of civilians who are armed at the moment with the aim to protect their communities. I think if the center can give the guarantee that there will be no longer conflicts, or there will not be, it will enforce the rule of law with respect to any violence, I think many people may turn up or give up the weapons. So I think before that, it's, I think, too premature to expect people to hand over the weapons. Insurgents will not give up. But there are lots of people who are not insurgent. They are also in possession of weapons. So I think there is a need to change the state government and to be ruled by directly by the central government.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.